All right. Welcome, MycoFest family. Welcome. Grand Rising to you all. Let's all take a deep breath together before I get started, y'all. Let's just ground this in and just, take a moment to connect with ourselves and the earth right now. So take deep breaths, breathe all the way out right now, completely let the breath out. Deep breath in, and we're gonna count to 4 to the top of the breath. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and hold it for 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Hold it, 2, 3, 4. Breathe back in. All right. How we feeling, fam? Everybody good? All right. Well, my name is Ankara Akiru, and I'm here to share with you about the Celtic psychedelic mushroom cult of Ireland. And I'm really excited about it because I've been diving deep with the ancestors and doing a lot of research, and I'm here to share with you about my peoples and where I come from and how it's all connected to the mushroom culture. So welcome here. Thanks for being here, family. I wanted to tell a little bit of story about myself before we get started. Of course, I'm a loving father. I'm a world-bridging psilocybin integration mentor, adept etymologist, transformational breath coach, and entheogenic explorer. And my beginnings of my journey with mycology and the mushroom experience came around the year of 13 or 14 years old, when I was about 13 or 14 years old, I was out in the forest with a friend of mine, and this was before I had any experience with cannabis or any other plant medicines or anything. I was just out in the forest with a friend of mine, and as young boys or whatever, you're out in the forest and you're just playing games in the woods and stuff. And so we come across this mushroom, this completely unidentified random mushroom, and my friend dares me to eat it. He's like, I dare you to take a bite of the mushroom. And so I'm like, you know what, you're a kid and somebody dares you to do something, you just can't turn it down. So I'm like, all right, here we go, let's do this. And I picked a mushroom and I took a bite. And I was like, yeah, see, I did it, and we had a kick, and it was a fun time. But when I got home, I started to get really, really sick. And I started purging, and I started sweating, and I felt like I was gonna die, y'all. It was crazy. Like, I must have eaten a poisonous mushroom. And needless to say, I couldn't tell my parents. They knew I was sick, and I said that I just had food poisoning or something, but I had actually eaten a poisonous mushroom, y'all. And I literally felt like I was on the verge of death. Like, I was dying, but I couldn't say anything. And fortunately, I went through the experience, and I kind of left my body, but I came back to myself, and I lived through it. And I realized, I always had an aversion to mushrooms after that experience. It was kind of scary to me and things, but it was because I didn't identify this mushroom, and so I learned the hard way. But as I started to explore more about mushrooms and their effects and edibles and poisonous and psychedelics, I got really into it, y'all. And so that path has led to MycoFest here to share with this presentation today. So I'm really stoked to be diving into how we can identify the mushrooms as well as ourselves. So this is a little bit about my mentors and teachers. You can't really see this super well, but I'm gonna just share with you some of my teachers because it's always a great honor to recognize those who came before us, our teachers, and people who, you know, shared this information and got us inspired to be on this path. So these are some of my people, starting with my grandmother over here. Grandmother McNally on the far left there. And she introduced me to nature and took me up into the mountains of North Carolina. I was born in Florida in the flatlands, and my grandmother introduced me to the mountains and nature and the rivers and things like that. And so I became really inspired to be in nature a lot. And so giving thanks to grandmother today. We also have my two mentors and teachers to my left and right over here, the far left. This is Ras Naim and Ras Ben. So Ras Naim was instrumental in my path and where I am today with the work that I'm doing. Was an inspiring teacher and lifetime mentor for me. So giving thanks for him, he helped inspire this technology that I work with, crystal synergy oncs and copper magnets and crystals. So giving thanks to Ras Naim. Ras Ben, you know, ancient future teacher, you know, star mapper, and high researcher, you know, and he's teaching us a lot about urban geomancy and what's going on in the city centers with, you know, the ley lines and these centers where they've built our capitals and built all of these governmental buildings are actually ancient sites where the indigenous people connected and worshiped with their ancestors, or venerated their ancestors, let's say, not worship. But so Ras Ben, giving thanks for his teachings. Got my daughter down here in the middle, Josiah Rain. Can't forget about her. She's a big teacher of mine. Over here we've got Michael James. Right here is Michael James. Anybody know Michael James out of the Bay, San Francisco Bay? Yeah? Okay. Haight Street Shroom Shop, you know. He's a big inspiration for me on the mycology path. We've got Darren LeBaron over here. How about Darren LeBaron? Yeah. Darren is a mycologist from the UK, and he's a code mapper, skull gang, you know, super big inspiration for me, and part of the reason why I'm on this path and on the stage today. We got my friend Von Benjamin over here from Midnight Akibeka. Big inspiration for me and teacher of mine through the music and inspiration of Rastafari and, you know, St. Croix fusion reggae music. We've got the cannabis back here, some ayahuasca vines, the mushrooms. There might even be a tab of L over there. We've got the frogs, giving thanks to the frogs and the toads, the peyotes. Okay, and then we got my dear friend, Elder Gita Thandika from South Africa, Zulu Nation, giving thanks for her teachings and connecting me deeply with my ancestors and guiding my path. We've got the tobacco down here, Grandfather Tobacco, giving thanks. And last but not least, Baba Kalindi E.E. Ahati Kalindi E.E. giving thanks for his teachings and inspiration today. And he's the one that introduced me to speaking on stage and telling my story, you know. And I watched people like Baba Kalindi and people like Darren LeBaron trace their story back to their ancestors and back to ancient African cultures, you know. And it got me thinking, you know, I'm like, what about where are my people? What am I connected to? And I knew that I had an Irish lineage, but I didn't know much about it, and I didn't really know the deeper connection with the sacred mushrooms. And so today I'm here to share a little bit about, you know, my culture and my people, and that connection and that inspiration comes from all these people that come before me and after me, you know. So give it thanks. Give it up for the teachers, y'all. Give it up for the ancestors, you know. Yes, love to hear that. All right, this is my why. I was inspired by my teachers and ancestors to research and identify the ancient history of my Irish lineage so that I could connect and understand where I come from and my relationship with the mushrooms and my future generations. So this is my mom. Also want to say love to my mom, Karen McNally, and my little girl, Josiah Rain. And of course the Amanitas. We're going to talk about those here real quick. Who were the Celts? We're going to talk about the Celtic tradition and the Celts today. So we're going to look into colonization times here. We're going to talk about the Tuatha De Danann. This was the tribe of the Celts here. So it was pronounced Tuatha De Danann. It's translated as a tribe of Danu, and scholars agreed that Danu was the name of their goddess, most probably Anu or Anan. Okay, so this is important. And the Anu is also, you may know, connected to Anunnaki and things like this. So, this is a deep thread, and I'm going to reveal, but today I'm going to reveal to you how the mushroom culture is not, of course, strictly Celtic or Irish. Like, this mushroom culture is a world culture, and these amanitas and these psilocybins are something that are found in all regions and all places. So we're going to go down this road together, but we're going to see how it's connected to everything else. Okay? So the Tuatha De Danann were a supernatural race that resided in the other world, but they were able to interact with those living in the real world. Okay, so these were a supernatural people. These were almost like entities or gods that were in another dimension or space that were able to interact with humans. Okay, and you see the name, the Tuatha, right? The Twa. The Twa were the pygmy people, the small, early ancient African people. So they were actually found in Ireland as well. You can see it in the name, the Tuatha De Danann. Okay? So the Celt of the mushrooms. More than one scholar has suggested that ancient Ireland was home to a magic mushroom religion. Ancient author Peter Wilson wrote a book called Plowing the Clouds and says it makes perfect sense that Indo-European used psychedelics in their rituals. In fact, these psychedelic experiences could be the origin of the pagan religion that sprung up all over Ireland. Wilson is stunned that no one has connected psychedelics to Ireland because there are plenty of scope for a cult of mushrooms amongst the Celts. The old-fashioned Indo-Europeans, so loyal to ancient ways and so fond of intoxication. Okay, I put this little guy together over here. Add some imagery for you so it doesn't get boring. So the best connection, Mag Tuirid, a mystical plain in Ireland, which was the scene of two important battles. The first battle was between the Firbolg. Okay, this Firbolg, through doing research and studying with Darren LeBaron, found out that the Firbolg was actually another name for the Twa tribe. And then we have the Tuatha De Danann, of course, and then you also have the Four Moors. So that's another, the Four Moors. So if it's connected to the Moorish people. So these were the people that were already in Ireland, the Twa, or the Firbolg, and the Four Moors, four of them. But this best connection, sorry, I want to go back to this real quick. Let me tell this story real quick. There was a battle, and the De Danann overcame the Firbolg and won Ireland for themselves. But Nuada, the king of the gods, lost his hand in the battle. Because of this flaw, he was no longer permitted to be king. Bres, which is connected to Bes, and we'll find later on, this Bes connection goes back to Egypt and Kemet. Bes was elemental force or a being in Kemet, so we're going to explore this more. But yeah, here you see that Bres is a beautiful son of a goddess and a former king, which was chosen to rule in Nuada's stead. Okay? Psychedelic mushrooms of Ireland, the amanitas and the liberty caps. So these are the two most readily found psychedelic. We know about fly organic. Of course, if you study mycology, even the smallest little bit, you know that this is the world famous fly organic, the Amanita muscaria, and it's of course the emoji on the phone that we use. It's in the Super Marios. It's one of the most well recognized, although misunderstood, mushrooms in history. And there's a long history in many different cultures of the use and connection with the Amanita muscaria. So I'm just going to share with you quickly a little bit about the connection in Ireland with fly organics. They appear between August and November in Ireland. They're between between certain select trees in a symbiotic relationship. These mushrooms have received an unnecessary bad rap over the years. Danger with this little guy is that this mushroom does somewhat resemble a very poisonous mushroom called the death cap. The death cap looks the same, but it tends to be white rather than red. So after preparing the fly organic for consumption, Druids were said to eat it for its hallucinogenic properties. It was believed that these hallucinations conferred great knowledge and enlightenment to those who received them. The fly organic mushroom was a very important fungus to the Druids. In fact, ancient people called it the flesh of the gods. It was thought to put the Druids in direct communication with the universe when they ate it. Everybody with me? Yeah? Y'all feeling it? Yeah? How many people have experienced the fly organic mushroom, the Amanita? How many people have experienced it on a microdose? And then how many people have experienced the fly organic on a macrodose? Okay, we got a couple in the building. All right, let's talk. I'm going to be open for questions after, so I'm going to ask you guys some questions. I got questions for you. Okay, so the Liberty Caps is the second kind of magic mushroom found in Ireland. These can be found all over Ireland. They can be even found in the Phoenix Park in Dublin, right at the feet of the Pope's Cross. They prefer a south-facing slope with wet soil. The mushrooms are known as a stimulant and mind expander. People have taken them to report feeling at one with nature and the universe. Through Irish history, Liberty Caps were taken by regular people. Psychedelic trips is milder than that of the fly organic, which was left to highly trained Druids and other masters of the mushrooms. So the fly organic was deemed too powerful for anyone who was not undertaking training at the high level of the mind. Druids took these mushrooms and reported back to the lay people on the wisdom the universe had transmitted to them while away with the fairies. The gods and goddesses of the Celtic mushroom cult. So we're going to look at these in relationship to the mushroom and see how their mythology and their connection to their creation myths and their gods and goddesses is directly related to the mushroom cult. So the goddess Brigid, she's the most important figure or deity, whatever you want to call it, goddess force inside of the Irish lore, or the Celtic lore. She appears in mythology as a member of the Tuatha De Danann, the daughter of Dagda and the wife of Bress. Okay, so this is an important. Let's look at Brigid. She's the Celtic patron of smithcraft, healing, and poetry. Okay, so we already see that she's connected to creating and this healing element and being inspired by poetry, which is, of course, what we receive when we take mushrooms. The name Brigid means the high one. Okay, her name means the high one. I found that out, and she's bright, or the exalted one. Okay, so from the Sanskrit, Brati, it is thought to refer to her association with fire and the sun. Okay, I don't know if y'all were around last night, but I heard the sun caught fire. I don't know. Had to be there, I guess. No, on stage, the fire caught, the sun caught fire. All right, so when she was born at sunrise, the tower of flames was said to have extended from the top of her head to the heavens, the fire in the head. So this fire in the head is what they describe as the psychedelic experience. They call it the fire in the head. This is directly connected to the goddess Brigid, okay? So the origin of the Irish culture and language. The history and mythology of Irish people leads to Mount Brandon. Very interestingly enough, I just researched Mount Brandon, and it's from Saint Brandon, who sailed from Ireland to Newfoundland and to the New Americas. Okay, before Columbus. And so, anyways, that's a whole nother story. But Ireland is in Mount Brandon. It's the westernmost point of Eurasian continent. Okay, so it's like the closest to the Americas over this way and things like that. Mount Brandon is located in the Tir Nanog, the Irish place of the forever young. This is the home of the goddess Brigid, and also means bride. So Brigid, her dress is red with white spots. Sounds familiar to me. As the wedding dress of brides all across Asia. Brigid's goddess counterpart in the Himalayan and Central Asia all wear the same red dresses with white spots. We've all seen the shamans and things like that, the shamanesses with the red and white dresses that are doing the dance, and yeah, this is a world culture of the Amanita and the mushroom. So here the goddess is embracing her birch tree. The goddess divine mushroom is the only fruit of her massive underground body, the thallus. The goddess's divine mushroom is interconnected with the roots of her sacred white birch tree in the symbiotic relationship. According to the mythology, to all those who came to her, Brigid provides a divine herb, a sacred mushroom, that confers healing and immortality on those who eat it. The Irish Brigid and the other goddesses of Eurasia all live in the sacred grove of the birch tree, and they all wear the red dresses with white spots. They all have the same dress of the divine mushroom she represents, okay? So in Ireland, we find a goddess in a red dress with white spots living in the sacred grove of birch trees, the tree of life and the divine mushroom, who confers healing and immortality. She teaches a language of the Ogam, the Om, or the Aum. Okay, Vedic Sanskrit, the language of the Himalayan mushroom goddess, is also derived from Aum or Om. An easy pattern to see here. Okay, so Mount Brandon is located in the miraculous star mirror, and it is the westernmost point of the Eurasian landmass. If one's walking to the west, the last step before stepping onto the Atlantic Ocean is Mount Brandon. So Mount Brandon is where we find a pattern of connectedness that was still existing between the goddess, her sacred tree of life, the birch tree, and the divine mushroom that heals all disease and confers immortality. This is the same pattern of the divine mushroom, the goddess, and the birch tree. It's recognizable all across Eurasia. Okay, we're going to talk about Soma, which Soma was, believed to also be the Amanita muscaria. The miraculous healing and regenerative properties of Brigitte's mushrooms are the same as the Himalayan goddess mushroom, Soma, that lives near spring waters in the heaven-like alpine birch forest of the Himalayas. Other mushroom goddesses of Central and West Asia wear the same red dress. Okay, we've already touched that. Okay, I hope you guys can see this. This is the funny interlude here. Okay, take a little comedic break. But no, we all know what's going on, so we're just gonna come right out and talk about it with what's going on with the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church transformed the goddess Brigitte into the Saint Bridget. Okay. Then they fabricated entire history for Saint Bridget, and they had her die. Okay. Remember, we just said she was the goddess of immortality. So they retold the story and had Saint Bridget die, and all this was done in an overt attempt by the Catholic Church to suppress or destroy the ancient knowledge of what they called the pagan people of Ireland, who believed in a goddess, elves, and fairies, okay? So this is the Pope finally coming to admission that psilocybin is the original religion here, and we can see that they have been mimicking the mushroom all along. What do y'all think about that? Just conjecture, We're going to talk about Cernunnos, was another god of the Celtic lore, arguably the most visual, impressive, with rather purportance of the ancient Celtic god. Cernunnos is actually the general name given to the deity, the Horned One. Okay, this is important, the Horned One. We need to pay attention to this because it's another signal of world culture connected to the cow, okay? And ungulates that have horns. So this is the Horned One, Cernunnos, as the Celtic god of polytheism. Cernunnos is often associated with animals, the forest, fertility, even wealth. His very depiction mirrors such attributes with this conspicuous antlers of the stag on his head and the poetic epithets like the Lord of the Wild Things. So he's usually holding or wearing a torque around his neck. You can't see this real well, but right here he's wearing this torque, which is a copper necklace that the Celts wore, and he's holding one in his hand here, right? You can see the torque there. We're going to look at that a little bit deeper. But he's also holding a bag of coins or grain and a cornucopia, okay? How many people, are there any mycologists here? Okay, no, raise your hand if you, okay. If you love mycology and you know anything about mycology, raise your hand. Yeah, if you're here to learn about mycology, raise your hand. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so I'm here to learn about mycology too. I don't know shit, but I know a little bit about this. So I'm gonna share what I know, but we know that you grow spawn on what? Grain. Mycologist? Okay, can you grow mushrooms on grain or on corn okay. All right, just checking, because I'm an amateur. I don't know, but he was carrying a bag of grain anyways. So he related to the association of animals. He was a hunting god. Some have also conjectured how Cernunnos could be the god of the underworld. The horned gods were a popular image in world mythology, okay? As many shamanic cultures use sympathetic magic to appear as animals who attributed the wish to take. When shamans wished to take on attributes of a deer or an elk, they would wear the animal's fur and antlers, okay? So we see the horned god here. I found this one image of him here with the horns, and then it looks like some little pinheads popping out there. I don't know. I just found the picture, and Okay, this is the torques that we're talking about. So I researched this pretty deeply, and I found a couple images. Now, not all of these torques look like this, but I was able to come up with 2 images of these torques, which are copper necklaces. And we're starting to see a pattern here. We can see the caps popping out there. The torques is an attribute of Cernunnos, as his horns or his distinctive cross-leg pose. I suppose that most seekers who are drawn to Cernunnos now seek a connection with nature and the underworld. But we know that to the ancient Celts, his ability to give wealth and abundance was important too, okay? Dagda the Allfather. Dagda is an important god in Irish mythology, one of the Tuatha De Danann. Dagda is portrayed as the father figure, the king, and the druid. So the druids were the sacred shamanic healing class or people of the Celtic culture, as most of us know. So Dagda is portrayed as the father figure. He's associated with fertility, agriculture, manliness, and strength, as well as magic, druidry, and wisdom. He can control life and death, the weather and the crops, as well as time and the seasons. He is often described as a large bearded man with a giant he's often described as a large bearded man or giant wearing a hooded cloak. He owns a magic staff, a club, or a mace, which kills with one end and brings life to the other. How many people have gone on a magic mushroom trip and felt like they were about to die? A lot of people. Okay, this is the guy that came and visited you in life and death and allowed you to come back, right? Dagda, the Allfather. He watched you in death and life, okay? So he has this cauldron, okay? It never runs empty, and there's a magic harp associated with the control of men's emotions and the change of seasons, okay? This cauldron is important, and this harp is important. Why? What do you brew your mushroom tea in? A cauldron. This is some of the cauldrons that I found when doing this research. This is no joke, y'all. This is the ancient Celtic cauldrons, okay? You may not be able to see real well because the lighting isn't great, but I'm just going to go over some of these. They're like the Cernunnos and different gods, but you can see here the mushroom head. I mean, it's popping out here, his brains are popping out. We see the mushroom head right here. Again, the mushroom in the center of the skull. You see another stipe and cap here. You see a repeating pattern in every one of these, okay? These are cauldrons, yeah, like ceremonial magic cauldrons, if you will. They were used to brew these magic, This is representative of Dagda, basically, the Allfather. So, yeah, these are the mushroom heads of Dagda. What do y'all think about Dagda? I mean, y'all seeing this? Am I making stuff up? All right, good. I'm just checking because I never heard this before, y'all. And this is all stuff I researched. I'm not making this stuff up, So The Tandrigi man, also known as Nuada. We talked about Nuada earlier in the battle, right? He was the king of the Tuatha De Dan and the husband of Boan. We see him here. This is a important ceremonial stone carving, and we see again with Nuada with the mushroom head here. You know, the stipe, the cap. There's even little dots at maybe the Amanita. But, you know, we keep seeing it again and again, basically, is what I wanted to share with you all. We're going to move on to Goddess Boan. So she's the goddess of the Irish inspiration, knowledge, fertility, and water. She is also the goddess of the Boan, or the Boyne River that flows through the Boyne Valley. Okay. Her name is interpreted as the white cow. She was the daughter of Delbeath of the Tuatha De Danann. Her husband is Nechtet. I'm sorry, I don't know that name, but Nechtin. Sorry, Nechtin. Her love is Dagda, and by whom she had a son, Angus. Okay, we've all at least known about Angus beef, right? Angus and Boan. What are cows are known as bovine? Boan, bovine, the cow, Angus. We're starting to see a pattern here with this horned god, this horned goddess. The ungulates again. Why do we keep seeing the cow? What does that have to do with mushrooms? So this is some of the Celtic sweat houses here, and this was, you know, the similar to like the Nipi or the sweat lodges, purification lodges in North America, but they would go in here and purify their bodies in a ceremonial ritual, you know. And oh wait, right here, I just wanted to show you. This was, you're not going to see this at all, but this was a carving on one of the stones entrance of the sweat house, and this is like some type of angel goddess type thing, but I'm also seeing a mushroom here, but I could just be seeing things. I could have eaten a mushroom before I did this presentation. So the sweat houses, it's assumed that the Druids held ceremony when consuming magic mushrooms as a culinary and shamanic tradition elsewhere in the world. Many cultures which consume psychedelics believe that the setting is paramount and proper ritual gives the most profound experience. It's surmised that the Druids would consume mushrooms and then sit in sweat houses. These mushrooms are dotted all over the Irish countryside, especially in areas where mushrooms grow. Initially, they were thought to be hot houses to cure rheumatism. However, it makes more sense to think that these were for a psychedelic experience, especially because sweating can make the experience more intense. And other shamanic cultures across the world have long used sweat houses for improving the psychedelic experience. Okay, this is world culture, y'all. Mushroom fairies. Fairies and mushrooms have been closely associated since the beginning in Ireland. Have you ever wondered why these two are so intertwined? Visions of the fairies are so strongly associated with mushrooms that the Gaelic slang for fairies and mushrooms is the same name, pookies. Okay, so pookies, that's fairies, pookies, that's mushrooms. Same, but different. Visions of the fairies are so strongly associated with Gaelic. Oh, sorry about that. So let that sink in for a minute, okay? Magic mushroom trip has always been said to make the user go away with the fairies. Or someone could be off with the pixies, and now you know why. Fairy rings, okay? Mycologists or studying mycologists know about fairy rings. Okay? Associated with many different mushrooms grow like this, but particularly the amanitas you find in these rings here, which they called fairy rings. The gnomes, a gnome's cap is primarily a form of camouflage, okay? The little pointed cap. Kind of like, I mean, it's not so pointed, but kind of like this hat, you know? They wore the mushroom cap. If a gnome is out in the open and a human spots them or other unwelcome threat, they would just stand still behind the mushroom like, whoop, you know? So the gnomes were well associated with the mushroom connection as well. Make sense? Yeah? Everybody with me? Yeah? Yeah? Alright. My battery's getting low here. Yeah, no tech support. I think we'll be good. Hopefully we'll be good. So, did I skip one? Yes. Yes. Terrence McKenna. Machine House. The gnomes. Little green guys. Best of the gnomes. So best, we talked about breasts now, and we look at ancient Egyptian Kemetic culture and we see best is the gnome. It's an ancient Kemetic god of childbirth, fertility, sexuality, humor, war, but served primarily as a protector god of pregnant women and children. He's regularly depicted as a dwarf with large ears, long hair, and bearded, prominent genitals, and bowed legs. Well, I don't know about the prominent genitals, but this guy looks like a gnome to me. He looks like a gnome to me, I don't know. The monuments and megaliths, mushrooms. So we're going to look at the stone builders in Ireland. They were our ancestors, in Ireland our ancestors were very extremely advanced, okay? So they constructed many monuments which showed a fantastic understanding of the seasons and celestial bodies. And they still stand today. These were centuries ahead of many other civilizations. Newgrange and the Monument of Knoweth are amongst the oldest structures in the world. I'm going to say that again, the oldest structures in the world, and they were remarkably advanced, very sophisticated. There were burial passages to the tomb at Knoweth even look like mushroom shaped. Did the knowledge come from the mind-expanding use of mushrooms? I don't think we're asking that question anymore, we're answering it. Newgrange Temple is one of the best examples of in Europe of a style of monument known to archaeologists as a passage tomb or chamber cairn. And it was constructed around 3200 BC. Okay, so according to most reliable carbon-14 dates available from archaeology, this makes this more than 600 years older than the Giza pyramids. Thousands of years more ancient than Stonehenge. You got a plug?
Yeah, I do actually.
Thank you, bro. It's Chad, right?
Yeah.
Y'all, I want to just take a pause for 1 minute and give it up for Chad. He's running the sound and audio today, and he's been very helpful. Things are running smooth, you know, so giving thanks for Chad today. Appreciate you, bro. Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Seamless. Y'all see that? I didn't even have to do nothing. All right, so Newgrange, yes. How we doing on time? Okay, we got 44. We still got 15 minutes. We're good. I'm gonna take questions at the end, so you guys can stick around if you want to ask anything or whatever. But thanks for being here, y'all. I've been, y'all are really into this. It looks like, and I'm super stoked to be sharing and have so many people listening. It's really a dream come true for me, y'all. Thank you. Immortality. So Anthony Murphy of the mythological Ireland has written a book about Newgrange called Newgrange Monument to Immortality, okay? We keep hearing about and seeing about immortality. We know mushrooms and many other cultures as the fungus of immortality, right? It takes you to your ancestors. You go through the underworld. You face death. We've already seen that we're still here. We're still alive, yet we went to that place, you know? So I'm not even assuming that that's where we're going to go again. Right? So this was examines the archaeology and the cosmology and the spirituality of the monument and its people, and it reaches interesting conclusions. The book suggests that the builders of the monument were aware of a near-death experience, and that the design of this passage opening towards the sun recreates the journey through a dark tunnel towards a brilliant light that is a central figure of many NDEs, standing for near-death experiences, okay? Immortality. The curbstones. This is Celtic art here. This is another thing to think about. While the LSD of the 60s made people collectively see paisleys, our Irish ancestors may have seen patterns that ended up carved onto rocks at Newgrange, like this swirling triskelion. Okay? So Shrooms is a group that advocates for the therapeutic use of magic mushrooms over in Ireland. So check that out if y'all are into what's going on in Ireland with psilocybin and things. Shrooms, SHROOMS, is a group that advocates for the therapeutic use of magic mushrooms in Ireland. David McNamara, he is a spokesman for Shrooms and says, "We have to look at the art and folklore to infer mushrooms by use by the ancestors, okay? Rock art in Noath and Newgrange appear to depict entoptic patterns, which, according to some archaeologists, implies psychedelic medicine used by the artists." The curbstone. This is a Celtic lunar calendar. I know y'all can see that one. Celtic lunar calendar. Looks like a spore print to me. I mean, the gills, you know. I could be just making all this stuff up. I'm just like looking at pictures and like, what is this? These guys are like studying the calendar by looking at the gills of a mushroom. Mind blowing, y'all. Like, this stuff is, I don't know if anybody has put this together, but here we are. So the Ohm stones, we talked about those a little bit earlier. This had to do with the Irish, the Celtic written language. They're the earliest form of written language in Ireland. It's dated to around 4th century, and it was used for around 500 years. The Ogham stone's epitaph is made of a series of strokes along or crosses a line. The Ogham stone is sometimes referred as the Celtic tree alphabet, okay? This is important. As a number of letters are linked to old Irish names for certain trees. The alphabet was carved on standing stones and to commemorate someone, using the edge of the stone as the central line. Okay, this is where we connect the dots. So the first letter of the Celtic alphabet represents our letter B, which stood for the birch tree. What was the tree that the Amanita grew under? The birch tree. It's the first letter of the alphabet, y'all. We all know that the psilocybin and psychedelic experience is directly connected to language. Okay? So I'm maybe going for a stretch here, but I'm connecting some dots and I hope that you use your imagination to go with me. It's a mythology considered the tree most highly sacred, containing the souls of their ancestors, okay? The birch tree. This is a life-size sandstone statue of a Celtic warrior, okay? I'm not going to read all the thing, but this guy is basically excavated from a Celtic tomb, okay? You can't see it that great, but he's eating something right there, and I swear he's eating something right there. Okay, mushroom stones at the Knockrose Gardens. Mushrooms shaped like granite objects made in the Cistercian monks in the 11th century used as it baffles the protected grains from like grains like rice from rats and mice. So these were mushroom-shaped stones that they were like essentially like plug holes for the silos where they stored what? Grain again. But why did they make them shaped like mushrooms? I don't know, but they found a lot of them in Ireland. Okay, that's it, y'all. I want to say that my name again is Ankara Akiru. I want to thank you so much for being here. I want to talk to you real quick before you leave about some of my current offerings, because I really want to connect with you all. If you would like to see me afterwards or whatever and dive deeper and just get my links or whatever, this is it up here, but please come talk to me after, ask questions. I'll be here until this evening. My booth is right over on the side over there. Some of my offerings are the Cosmic Key Makers Psychedelic Academy Facilitator Mentorship, starting in September of 2022, okay? So I teach psychedelic facilitators how to run safe containers, how to create integration plans, how to guide breakthroughs, and just really how to function in this current time and model as a psychedelic facilitator and guide. So this course is coming up September 2022. If you're interested in doing that and working with people on a one-to-one or group basis and you want to learn safe practices, and we have a whole community of educators, okay? It's not just me, you guys, that are doing this. We have like other educators in the space, and they're gonna be there to help guide the way. I also do one-on-one coaching for integration if you just had a crazy psychedelic journey and you need somebody to talk to and create a plan around how to touch down and bring that back into reality. Connect with me, please. I also do custom crystal synergy onks. My brother King David over here, he's got one. Can I see it? Can I see it? So this is some of the sacred ancient future technologies that I work with and make. I just have one there. You see this one. My dear sister Sonata Kamara, thank you so much for Sean. She's one of my collectors right here, y'all. She's got like 10 of these things, I don't know. But this is my work. If you're interested in getting a custom piece, I have a few left. I'm almost sold out, but I have a few more, and then I can always build custom pieces in the future. But this is some of the technology, great key for unlocking portals on your journey, great for midwives, great for dreamers, great for psychedelic facilitators. It's a sacred altar piece, it's a cosmic key, and I want to build you one. So come see me about that. I do transformational breath work with breakthrough sessions. My links are on IG. Everybody get out their phones right now. Get out your phone, IG, Cosmic Key Makers, or Cosmic Key Maker _ Find me on your phone on IG if you're on IG, please. And then I got Psilocybin for Sessions, which is a podcast and a psychedelic forum where I bring more education about what I do. So this is my current offerings. My name is Ankara Akiru. Thank you to the ancestors. Thank you to my Celtic psychedelic mushroom cult ancestors, They guided me into this space, and I'm here now sharing with you. So I just want to call upon them and send blessings out to this festival, MycoFest 2023. All of you and your lightest many blessings and on your journey home. I love you all. Do you have any questions for me? Oh, she's on it. Yeah. What's your name? Teresa, okay. Where am I located? I'm right here, right now. See me? Where do I work at? I work right here, right now. I have fun, though, mostly. I'm getting away from work. I'm more having fun. Yeah, but I'll have fun with you if you want to connect. Like, let's do it. My booth's right over there. We could talk and yeah. But I'm a cosmic nomad, so it's like I'm not from here. I'm from Arcturus, you know. So I'm just preparing for my journey home. But when you want to connect and build with me, I would love to do that. Thank you. Any other questions concerning Celtic psychedelic culture? Anybody interested? Nobody has any questions? Okay, Ian.
I'm interested. I just love you.
Oh, I love you too, Ian. Hey, give it up for Ian, this bro right here, man. Big love to you, bro. You know, I've been connected with him over the past couple of years and doing a lot of these events and stuff, and it's just cool to build a community and be here and connect with you all and stuff, you know. So even if you don't have a question or you're, you know, maybe shy, please come see me. I'll be here for the rest of the afternoon. I love you all. The last chance, questions? Yes, sir.
So you were saying like some of the religious idols that were like stone carvings kind of like had mushrooms like shaped it similar to them on them?
Correct. Yeah. The imagery on the cauldron. So these cauldrons were like the metal pots where they.
Like the stone carvings that they had across the land of the
Correct. Yeah. So these were faces that were impressed upon or carved out of the cauldron, and the heads. The lighting isn't great, but I can show you if you want to see it later. But they're very clearly mushroom heads, in my amateur opinion. Okay, so don't hold me to it. That it? All right, family. Thank you so much. Appreciate your support. I love you. Come see me later on. Cosmic Key Bakers out.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, bro.